The Power of Making Hard Decisions in Life, episode 18 on the All Money is Legal podcast. The Power of Making Hard Decisions in Life, episode 18 on the All Money is Legal podcast. The All Money is Legal podcast is powered by the LLC All Money is Legal, which is owned and operated by Frank Amell. Make sure you follow All Money is Legal on Instagram. Their Instagram handle is AMILKHEMY_. The All Money is Legal podcast truly speaks to the heart of dream chasers, hustlers, entrepreneurs, and everyday normal people that are trying to create a better tomorrow for themselves. I'm honored to be co-hosting this podcast with my brother, Frank Amell. The All Money is Legal podcast is one of the top 200 shows on Apple Podcasts right now. So if you download the Apple Podcast app, open it up, click on top shows, select the category music, you will see the All Money is Legal podcast ranking high. We appreciate all our listeners. We're doing over 5,000 listeners per week just on our podcast alone. All right. The power of making hard decisions in life. When you think about life in itself, it's simple on the landscape. You come out the womb, you grow up, and you have to make decisions. You have to make choices about things you want to do. What makes it hard are the circumstances that you're operating within. That's what makes life hard. Because naturally, nobody wants to hurt anybody. Nobody wants to take from anybody. Nobody wants to live a hard life, live in filth, live in dirt, live in inhumane circumstances. But in the environment that we are in, it causes different choices to be made. That's what makes life hard. Those tough decisions that we have to make that challenge our integrity, that challenge our morals, that challenge our patience, challenge our spirituality, challenge our whole psyche as a person. You know, one of the things that I loved about watching the show Good Times was that Florida Evans, no matter what, she never compromised her morals for anything, even though they were in the projects in Chicago, gang territory heavy, and she didn't work. And James Evans, the great Jane Evans, and shout out to John Amos. He just recently died, man. What a great actor. But she never wanted to take shortcuts on her integrity. She always made the hard decisions, no matter what the cost, if it was in the best interest of the family. The hardest decisions are the ones that come with the most pain. Make no mistake about it. The hardest decisions are the ones that come with the most pain. Think about, for instance, you have a child and you're raising that child and you want that child to be everything you weren't and more, because that's how normally it is. You want that child to be safe. You want that child to be educated. You want that child to be confident. You want that child to bloom and flourish into the best version of themselves and be successful. But we all know that life doesn't always work that way. And you're going to have to make hard decisions with that child to make sure it stays on track. Even when the child bucks you, even when the child tells you, you know, I hate you, I don't love you anymore, you don't love me, I don't like living here. You have to make tough decisions, very hard decisions to ensure the safety of that child. Even if it means you and the child have to break up, you have to put that child out. When it comes to our dreams, things we want to accomplish, how fast we want them to happen, the things we have to give up in order to get there, all of these different factors make chasing the dream hard and difficult and arduous and rigid and cold. But along that journey, we got to make sacrifices. how long is it going to take? How long are you willing to wait? How much money is it going to take to get there? Most importantly, real talk. Are you willing to make the sacrifices every single day and deny yourself of things, even in the event it doesn't happen? Life comes full circle when you are making hard decisions. I'm going to say that again. Life comes full circle when you are making hard decisions, because those decisions shape and mold your life forever. Think about the young lady that goes to college, says she's not going to have sex. She's not going to get involved with drugs or parties. She goes to class every day. She reads, she studies, she hustles. She gets the grades she needs. She makes the right connections in the business world before she graduates to make sure when she walks across that stage with her degree, she lands in the right space in life. And she does. No parties at night. Never out late. Made all the right sacrifices. Nice to everybody. Real cool. Made relationships with all the people that wanted to help her, that could help her. Never took a chance on anything she was not 100% sure about. Think about that for a minute. All those are hard decisions, especially when you go into college with all that temptation to do everything. What about you trying to save up to buy something that you need, whether it be a car or a house, get in a certain apartment, build your credit up, get a better credit score? What about all those different things you're trying to do? Are you willing to deny yourself of going out to eat, buying clothes, unnecessary things? Are you willing to invest all of your money into building your financial situation up higher, stronger? Are you willing to do that? You see, when you deny yourself temporarily, you create long-term happiness. You ever seen somebody create a company within their mind and then 10 years from now, that company is off going strong? You know what nobody never talks about? Those first 10 years. Nobody never talks about, hey, I remember when All Money Is Legal was starting out. Nobody never talks about that. Why? Because they couldn't see it. They were not there. All people know is what you give them in the end. That's all they know. That's all they mostly want to know is what can you give me in the end? Because when they see the finished product, now everything changes. You're successful. You weathered the storms. You went through the eye of the storm. You dealt with the starvation nights. You dealt with the bad loans and you paid them off and you did this and you did that. And you took all the chances and you made all the sacrifice and you grinded until you figured it out. The most expensive thing on the path to destiny is the figuring out phase. That's the part that costs you the most time and money. Because who wants to finance your thoughts? Who wants to finance your curiosity? I think it could be this. I think it can be that. You see, that doesn't work in the business world. Because that has to come out of your pocket. That has to come out of your sweat equity if it's going to work. In this life, you must embrace the hard decisions if you are going to be successful. And you have to come to that decision instantly. Because if you waver from anything, you will never, that decision will haunt you forever. And every time you get into a situation where you have to make a very game-changing, altering decision, you're going to fold. The character of your being, of the fiber of your being, and of everything you stand for will be built in those moments. Knowing when to let people go, knowing when you got to spend more money, knowing when you have to upgrade, knowing when you have to be better for yourself. And you have to look in the mirror every day and tell yourself, am I really doing enough? What can I do differently? I was just watching an episode of Club Shay Shay, and he had the guest Dion Cole. And they was talking about Sean Combs, aka Diddy, aka Puffy. And he said, man, I only had good times around the dude, man. But when I saw him, I never went to his parties like that, but he gave me he gave me some game-changing advice. He said, you spend your money on things that can make you free. You spend money on an assistant. You spend money on a driver. You spend money on a researcher. You spend money here. You spend money there. You spend money on things that will keep you free. Because when you spend money on things that will keep you free, you're going to be able to take your time and do a meeting. So you pay somebody to take those other calls. You pay somebody to send those emails out. You pay somebody to do this and that. So your mind can stay free. So you can now create more. The more you stay in the lane where there's no traffic, the faster you're going to go. So you invest your money in things that will keep you free. Because the more time you have, the more time you have for your mind, the more time you're going to have for your dream. And you're going to think about things you never thought of. I was driving down the road and I said I was going to go to a store to buy some bacon. I said to myself, why would I drive and spend probably 45 minutes to pick up a particular pack of bacon that I like, when I can make that trip more valuable, or even just order that online? Because that same 45 minutes to an hour could be spent thinking of something else, working on another project, talking to another entrepreneur, talking to another artist about their dreams. Most importantly, me thinking about the next move that's going to make the company bigger and better. Hard decisions. And hard decisions do not always come with a whole bunch of money on the line. Hard decisions are fighting your desires because you're human. Humans are naturally excessive. Humans always want more. Humans are never satisfied. Humans mostly want to take the path of least resistance because they want the easy way out. Hey, I want to lose weight. Let me jump on a pill. Let me shoot something in my arm. This drug makes you lose weight. Like everybody wants the easy way out. The greatest satisfaction you will ever receive comes from making hard decisions. When you make the hard decisions in life, and you will reap the benefits. And when you do, it brings a different level of self-confirmation. It does. It does. I know that from experience. When you make the hard decisions to better your situation, when you get to that level of where you knew you could go, or where you knew you could be, not only will you be elevated and exalted, people around you will do it for you because they know exactly what you have accomplished. People watch your struggle more than they watch you be successful because you're going to struggle longer than you are successful. 50 Cent said it great one time. He said, man, I've been broke for almost 30 years. I just became rich the past 20. So people struggle longer than they're successful. That's normally how it works. But making the hard decisions will allow you to feel the joy of the process. Even when it comes to spending money in what you're doing. Catch that flight. Pay for that hotel. Pay for this. Pay for that. Pay for and keep creating. If that's what you know you are here for. And let me say something in conclusion, right? Here's the hardest decision that you're going to make. I'm going to keep it so real for everybody that's tuned into this podcast. The hardest decision that you're going to make in this whole journey is if you're the person that dream is intended for. Sometimes you can have a dream and it's for somebody else. sounds crazy, but it's not. Sometimes you could dream about something. You know what? I need somebody to help me with this, and they can do it better than me, but this would be dope. You may not be the right person to lead the dream, but you can work within the dream. That's a decision you have to make. Because when it gets to a point where nobody's on the plane but you, that's when it's the quietest. That's when no one's on the plane but you. You gotta fly it. You gotta go to that level. And that's what it's about. That's what this process is about. The hardest decision you're gonna make is if you are the person to be the pilot of your destiny. The power of making hard decisions in life shape and mold your future. Most importantly, it tests and builds your character at the highest level, under fire. And making those hard decisions will always allow you and empower you to value everything around your life, in your life. Because you know why? Because you won't take anything for granted. You ever seen somebody fight for good credit? I mean, just fight for it. Man, I paid my bills. I paid that down. I worked nice. I did this. And look, I pay all my stuff, man. I know what this means. They do that for a reason. You ever seen somebody lose a lot of weight the right way? You ever seen how that woman feel, or how that man's feel, or how that guy feel? You ever seen a guy who used to be fat or out of shape, and now you see him at the beach and he just ripped up? He was doing push-ups. He was eating right. He was jogging. He was running. Nah, he on another level. Because there's no higher power, human-wise, than self-motivation. But self-motivation is the cousin of hard decisions. I'm going to say it one more time. Self-motivation is a cousin of hard decisions. The power of making hard decisions in life is the foundation of your entire purpose in this world. If you look at any great leader, any great story, it all derives from making hard decisions. I don't care if you're talking about Gandhi. I don't care if you're talking about MLK. I don't care if you're talking about Malcolm X. I don't care if you're talking about JFK. I don't care who you're speaking about. Every great story of a great person came from making hard decisions. Tyler Perry sleeping in his car, that was a hard decision. That doesn't mean every film producer or filmmaker that sleeps in their car is going to be Tyler Perry, but part of his story is why he is great. But only he knew he could do it. So he made the hard decision to say, I'm sticking with this no matter what. Because he knew what the world didn't know, but he knew what he knew. I was built for this. I was born to do this. That is the hardest decision to make. Like I said earlier. The power of making hard decisions in life. The All Money's Legal Podcast, episode 18. Shout out to Frank Emil, Dev Emil. I see you people. Let's get it. Music Hype Beast. Make sure you tune in to 99.7 The Heat Miami every Sunday night at 6:00 p.m. Eastern, and tune in to hear the All Money's Legal Podcast live on air. All right. Download the iHeartRadio app, type in 99.7 The Heat, DAHEAT Miami, and tune in. All right. Let's get it. Frank, I see you, King. Peace.